Students, today we are going to see the applications of Newton's laws of motion. That is, before seeing applications of Newton's laws of motion, we are going to discuss problem solving techniques in this chapter. That is, first technique is we need to identify the forces acting on the object. And second point is, and in which direction they are acting. We need to check in which direction they are acting. And we need to draw a free body diagram. Then choose coordinate axis. That means mention the coordinate axis. Which one is taking as x-axis and which one is taking as y-axis. We need to choose the coordinate axis or mention the coordinate axis. Okay. Fifth point of strategy is, and we need to check whether the object is in equilibrium or in motion. Check whether the object is in equilibrium or motion. And apply Newton's second law of motion now. Check whether the object is in equilibrium or in motion. If the object is in equilibrium, we know the conditions for equilibrium are sigma fx equal to 0, sigma fy equal to 0, and sigma fz equal to 0, that we have discussed in first class of laws of motion. We need to apply these conditions if the object is in equilibrium. We need to apply Newton's first law of motion if the object is in equilibrium. And if the object is in motion, if the object is under acceleration, we need to apply sigma fx equal to max and sigma fy equal to may and sigma fz equal to maz if the object is in motion. That means if the object is in equilibrium, we need to apply Newton's first law of motion, that is sigma fx equal to 0, sigma fy equal to 0, sigma fz equal to 0. And if the object is under motion, we need to apply Newton's second law of motion, that is sigma fx equal to max, sigma fy equal to may, and sigma fz equal to maz. And finally, solve for unknown things. Solve for unknown things. So these are the strategies that we are going to apply when we are solving the problems of laws of motion. First one, we need to identify the forces acting on the object. Second one, in which direction they are acting is important. And then resolve it into components. Then draw a free body diagram, choose the coordinate axis, and check whether the object is under equilibrium or in motion. If the object is under equilibrium, we need to apply Newton's first law of motion. That are the conditions are sigma fx equal to 0, sigma fy equal to 0, and sigma fz equal to 0. If the object is under motion, we need to apply Newton's second law of motion, that is sigma fx equal to max, and sigma fy equal to may, and sigma fz equal to maz, and solve for unknown things finally. Okay, so we apply same conditions, same problem solving techniques in this problem. Okay, first, so I need to draw a free body diagram. So I am drawing free body diagram at this point. So free body diagram for 6 kg object. Free body diagram for 6 kg object. So how many forces are acting on the 6 kg object? This is a rope and this is also a rope. Isn't it right? So, and a mass of 6 kg is suspended by a rope from ceiling. A force of 50 newtons in the horizontal direction is applied at the midpoint of P. Midpoint of P దగ్గర 50 newtons of force is acting along horizontal direction. So we are applying 50 newtons of force on a rope of 2 meters length. Rope of 2 meters length. So what is the angle the rope makes with the vertical in equilibrium? He mentioned that the particle is in equilibrium. As the particle is in equilibrium, we need to apply these conditions, Newton's first law of motion conditions. So for this, I am drawing free body diagram for 6 kg object. So here the force exerted by this rope on the object is nothing but tension force. So how many forces are acting on the 6 kg object? One is gravitational force acting straight down. Gravitational force is nothing but m into g. And what is the other force that is acting on 6 kg object directly? The force exerted by rope on the object. That is nothing but tension. The tension is acting upward direction. Okay. So we identified the forces acting on. Next one. In which direction they are acting? Weight is acting downwards and tension force exerted by rope on the object is upwards. Right. We draw a free body diagram and choose the coordinate axis. Let this is positive y-axis, so it will become minus y-axis, and this is origin. Right. Next, check whether the object is in equilibrium or in motion. He has mentioned that the object is in equilibrium. So we apply Newton's first law of motion. So that is sigma fx equal to 0, sigma fy equal to 0, sigma fz equal to 0. We need to see component of forces along x-axis. Here in this case, no component of forces along x-axis. So no worry to see about x component of forces. And z component of forces are also absent. So only what are the forces that are acting along? Y component of forces are there. Tension and mg is acting. So we need to apply this condition here, that is sigma fy equal to 0. Sum of forces acting along y-axis equal to 0. So what are the sum? One force is acting along positive y-axis, T. Summation means plus. And what is the other force acting along y-axis? Mg is acting, but it is acting downwards. So minus mg equal to 0. T minus mg equal to 0. That means T is equal to m into g here. T equal to m into g. Here T equal to, what is m here? M is nothing but 6 kg into g is nothing but 9.8. Or we can take it as 10 also for simplicity. So g value I am taking it as 10. So 6 into 10 is nothing but 16 newtons. We got tension acting at this point. Okay, but our goal is to find out the angle the rope makes with the vertical in equilibrium. We need to find out this angle theta. Okay, for this we need to draw a free body diagram again. We need to draw a free body diagram again. So here we need to draw a free body diagram at junction P. So at P, free body diagram at point P. So P there. How many forces are acting? One is horizontal force of 50 newtons is acting. Okay, and tension is acting down. Tension is acting down, and this is also tension is acting in this way. Tension. The tension is making an angle of theta with the vertical direction. So here this is adjacent term for theta. So adjacent term, and magnitude of force is nothing but here T. So adjacent term always in cos theta term. So this one will become T cos theta. This component will become T cos theta because this is adjacent term to theta. And this is opposite side to theta. Opposite side to theta is nothing but this one. This one and this one are equal. So opposite side will become T sin theta. So we resolve it into components. So now, what are the forces acting along x-axis? 50 newtons and t sine theta. 50 newtons is acting along x-axis and t sine theta is acting along negative x-axis. And the particle is in equilibrium, he mentioned. So we need to apply this condition here. Summation of forces along x-axis is equal to 0. So what are the summation of forces? 50 is acting along positive x-axis. Summation of plus, and t sine theta is acting along negative x-axis. So minus t sine theta equal to 0. So simply 50 is equal to t sine theta, and sine theta is equal to 50 divided by t. We know that t is equal to, we got t as 60. So sine theta is equal to 5 by 6. Theta is equal to sine inverse of 5 by 6. Use calculator to find the final answer. Okay, theta is equal to sine inverse of 5 by 6. Okay, now the topic is friction. Friction is the motion. Friction is the motion. It is the force which opposes the motion of an object. So opposing force is called the friction here. Friction is of three types. One is static friction, another is kinetic friction, and one more is rolling friction. First one is static friction, and second one is kinetic friction, and third one is rolling friction. Rolling friction. Okay, see here we will discuss one by one. Static friction comes into picture when the object is at rest, when the object is at a stationary mode or in static mode. See, I am taking an object. I am taking a box full of books which are kept on the table surface. So how many forces are acting on the box full of books? One is gravitational force, that is force exerted by earthen object that is acting straight downwards, and another force is nothing but force exerted by surface on the box is nothing but normal force, and another force is nothing but frictional force. Frictional force. Okay? Right, friction force. Now we are going to discuss about frictional force here when the object is initially at rest. Okay? Let us consider 100 newtons of force is required to keep the object is in motion. We need to apply how much amount of force on the box? We need to apply minimum of 100 newtons of force to keep the box in motion. So, when I apply only 10 newtons of force on the box in horizontal direction, if I apply 10 newtons of force, will the box is in motion? No, this is not in motion. Box is still at rest. So, what is the force that counter attacks the applied force in horizontal direction? Frictional force is acting opposite to 10 newtons. So, friction force. This friction force is also equal to 10 newtons. So, net force will become 10 minus 10. Net force will become 0. Then only the particle is still at rest. So, here the frictional force is how much? 10 newtons, and acting opposite to our application of force. Still the body is at rest. So, this frictional force we call it as static friction. Okay. In second case, I am increasing the force to 50 newtons. Still the object is at rest. That means I am applying 50 newtons of force. Still the object is at rest. That means another force is opposing the motion of the object. What is the other force that is acting opposite to applied force? Frictional force again. That frictional force is equal to 50 newtons again. It must be 50 newtons because net force must be equal to 0 again. If net force is equal to 0, then only the object will be in equilibrium mode. That means velocity equal to 0 or velocity is constant. It is static condition mode, so velocity equal to 0 in this case. Next, in this case, if I apply 99 newtons of force, still the body is at rest. Because the body needs how much? 100 newtons of force, minimum of 100 newtons to get the body into motion. So here I applied 99 newtons of force, still the body is at rest. So the other force that is counter-attacking this applied force is frictional force again. What type of friction is this? Static friction, because the body is at rest. The frictional force acting on the body when it is at rest is called as a static friction force. Again, net force equal to 0. That means applied force is 99 newtons and the opposing force is nothing but 99 newtons. So total will become 0, so that the particle is under at rest again. If I apply 99.999 newtons of force, again the body will be at rest. That means the opposing force is also acting equal and opposite. What is the opposing force? What is the force that opposing the motion here? Frictional force. What is that friction here? Static friction, because the body is still at rest. So here in this case, static friction is nothing but 99.999 newtons. If I apply 100.1 newtons of force, then the body will come into motion. So the body will not be in no longer be in static mode. So when I apply 100.1 newtons of Newton, 100 is the minimum amount of force to keep the body in motion. So beyond 100, the body will not be in static mode. The body will not be in rest mode. So static frictional force is always less than or equal to applied force here. Okay? If I apply 10 newtons of force, static friction is 10 newtons. If I apply 50 newtons of force, still the static friction is 50 newtons. If I apply 99.9 newtons of force, again the static friction is 99.9 newtons. The amount of force that needed to keep the body in motion is minimum amount of force we considered is 100 newtons. When I apply 100 newtons of force, the body will be ready to be in motion. So static friction is always less than or equal to that 100 newtons. In this case, 100 newton is in this case only. So here the static frictional force is directly proportional to N, normal force. Okay, so here normal force directly proportional to normal. Normal is equal to, in this case, normal is equal to mg. If amount of weight of the box is more, so normal force is more. So that frictional force is also more in this case. By removing proportionality symbol, we will get Fs is equal to some mu s into n. Mu s into n, where mu s is called as the coefficient of static friction. Mu s is nothing but coefficient of static friction. See here, if normal force, if weight of the box is more, normal force also more. If normal force is more, we need to apply large amount of force to keep the body in motion. So frictional force is also more. So simply frictional force is directly proportional to normal force. On removing the proportionality symbol, we will get some constant mu s. Mu s is called as a coefficient of static friction here. So now similarly, when the body is in motion, kinetic friction comes into picture. The frictional force exerted by the surface on the object when it is in motion is called kinetic friction. Kinetic friction is also proportional to N. So by removing proportionality symbol, we will get some constant mu k into N. N is nothing but normal force. N is nothing but normal force, and mu k is coefficient of coefficient of kinetic friction. Coefficient of kinetic friction. Similarly, in the rolling friction, Fr is directly proportional to N. So Fr is equal to mu r into N. Therefore, here mu r is nothing but coefficient of rolling friction. Coefficient of rolling friction. Okay. So the amount of force to keep the body in motion is less than the amount of force to get the body to break loose. That means static friction force is greater than kinetic friction. When the body is at rest, the amount of force that we need to keep the body in motion will be more. Once the body is in motion, we require only less amount of force. So frictional force is less. So static friction is greater than kinetic friction. When we attach wheels to this box, we can push the box easily as compared to previous two places. So rolling friction is less than kinetic friction and kinetic friction is less than static friction. That means static friction is greater than kinetic friction and kinetic friction is greater than a rolling friction. Which frictional force is greater among all? Static friction is greater than kinetic friction and kinetic friction is greater than rolling friction. Accordingly, coefficient of static friction is greater than coefficient of kinetic friction and coefficient of kinetic friction is greater than coefficient of rolling friction. So these are the conditions. Okay. So static friction is always greater than or equal to what? Mu s n. Static friction is always less than or equal to mu s n or less than, because here in this case the amount of force needed to keep the body is in motion is 100 newtons. If I apply only 10 newtons of force, in this case the frictional force is only 10 newtons. Which frictional force is there? Is static friction. If I apply 50 newtons of force, still the body is at rest. So frictional force is, static friction force is acting with 50 newtons. If I apply 99 newtons of force, still the body is at rest. The amount of static frictional force is again 99 newtons. If mu s n equal to 100 newtons, so the body will be in motion, ready to be in motion. So static friction is always less than or equal to mu s n. Okay, and Fk equal to mu kn and Fr equal to mu Rn, where mu r is nothing but coefficient of rolling friction and n is nothing but normal friction. And final conclusions are, static friction, we need a large amount of force to keep the body in motion. That means static friction is greater. Once the body is in motion, we require only large amount of force to keep the body in motion. So kinetic friction is less than static friction. Once we attach wheels to the box, rolling will be there. So rolling friction, we need still less amount of effort to keep the body rolling. So rolling friction is smallest frictional force and static friction is greatest frictional force. So static friction is greater than kinetic friction is greater than rolling friction. Therefore, mu s is greater than mu k is greater than mu r. Now we are going to discuss about example 5.7. Determine the maximum acceleration of the train in which the box lying on its floor will remain stationary. The box lying on the train's floor is remain stationary. So that find the acceleration of the train. So this is our problem. So when the box is lying on its floor, train's floor, what are the forces acting on it? We need to draw a free body diagram. One is gravitational force, mg is acting downwards, and another one is nothing but normal force acting. Consider train is moving this side, right side. So frictional force act opposite to train motion. So frictional force act opposite to train motion. What is that frictional force? See here, still the body is in stationary mode. So frictional force is nothing but here static frictional force. static frictional force acts opposite to motion of the train. So that what is the acceleration here? Okay, see here, we need to apply Newton's laws of motion here. First I am taking this as positive y-axis and this as positive x-axis. Okay, so is there any motion along vertical direction? No, no motion is there along vertical because the box is not flying in vertical direction. It's simply at rest on the floor surface of the train. So there is no motion along y-axis. So body is in equilibrium in vertical mode. So sigma Fy equal to 0. Body is in equilibrium in vertical direction. So sigma Fy equal to 0. That means summation of y component of force is equal to 0. What are the y component of forces here? N. Summation means place. Mg is acting along minus y direction. So minus mg. Why I am keeping minus? Because it is pointing downward direction. Equal to 0. These two forces are acting along y-axis. So simply we will get n equal to mg. We got n equal to mg. So now come to x direction. What are the forces acting along x-axis? Only one force is acting along x-axis. What is that force? Fs. Fs force is acting along x-axis. We know Fs equal to, here the train is accelerating, we need to find out the acceleration here. So when the train is acceleration, we need to apply Newton's second law of motion, that is x component of forces. Sum of x component of forces equal to max. Okay, what are the forces acting along x-axis? Only static frictional force is acting along x-axis. So Fx equal to ma. Okay, we know Fs is nothing but mu s into n, that is equal to simply ma. Fs equal to mu s n. Just now we have discussed mu s n. So here mu s, what is n? We got n equal to m into g, that is equal to m into a. So here this mass and this mass get cancelled. So acceleration A is equal to mu s into g. What is mu s value given? The coefficient of static friction between box and trains floor is how much? Mu s equal to 0.15. So mu s equal to 0.15. Let take g equal to 10. 0.15 into 10 is nothing but 1.5 meter per second square is the answer for acceleration of the train. A equal to 1.5 meter per second square. A mass of 4 kg rests on a horizontal plane. A mass of 4 kg rests on a horizontal plane. The plane is gradually inclined until an angle theta equal to 15 degrees with the horizontal. This plane is gradually increased. This plane is raised gradually until theta equal to 15 degrees with horizontal direction. So the object will be at this location now. Okay, initially the object is on the horizontal plane and this plane is gradually increased until theta becomes 15 degrees with horizontal. The mass just begins to slide. The mass is just ready to slide. Still the static friction force is acting on the object. It is about to slide. Not sliding, about to sliding. Right. So it is at rest. Still it is at rest. That means we need to apply conditions of equilibrium in this problem. Okay, right. So what is the coefficient of static friction between block and the surface? In this case, what is the coefficient of static friction between block and surface? So here I am drawing free body diagram now. So here the mass of the object is m. So gravitational force acts straight downwards. This is nothing but mg. Okay. So force exerted by surface on the object is nothing but normal force. A perpendicular force exerted by surface on the object is nothing but a normal force is acting like this. Okay, so if there is no friction, if this is a smooth surface, this object might fall like this. So in order to avoid the sliding, there must be a frictional force. What type of friction is this? The body still is at rest, still is at rest. It is about to slide, not sliding, about to slide. Still the object is at rest. So if there is no friction, this body would have been slided like this. So frictional force must be opposite to this motion. That means frictional force might be like this. What type of friction is this? Static friction. We are identifying the friction direction by assuming the motion. If there is no friction, the block would have been moved like this. So opposite to motion, the frictional force will act like this. Right. Now, the angle between this and this is nothing but 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. And I am drawing a projection like this. Okay, so here this total angle is nothing but 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Right? Total angle is 90. And see here, this angle with the inclination is nothing but theta. So horizontal. Right? So the inclination is making an angle of theta with horizontal direction. So this angle is theta. Horizontal direction, inclination direction. The angle between horizontal and inclination is theta. See here, this angle is, if this angle is theta, angle between this and this total will be 90 degrees. So this angle might be 90 minus theta. 90 minus theta. Right? So if this is 90 minus theta, the angle between this downward and this one is nothing but 90. Out of 90, this is 90 minus theta. So this must be theta. So 90 minus theta plus theta. Total angle will become 90 again. Okay. So this dotted line making an angle of theta with the downward direction. Dotted line is making an angle of theta with downward direction. So the diagram is like this now. Free body diagram is like this. Mg is acting downwards and this is inclination and this is normal force and this is frictional force and this is down opposite to normal force, and if this angle is theta, angle between dotted lines and downward direction, angle between dotted lines and downward direction is also will be theta. I explained already how it will become theta. Now resolving mg into components. The magnitude of mg is pointing downwards, which is making an angle of theta with vertical. So we can resolve mg into components. So this theta is nothing but, this side is adjacent side to theta. So this will be cos theta term. So this will component will become mg cos theta. And theta opposite is nothing but, this is sin theta term. Opposite side involves with sin theta term. So this length exactly equivalent to this length. So this must be mg sin theta. Opposite side involves with sin theta term. So this also will become mg sin theta. Now identify, choose the axis. Let this is positive x-axis and this is positive y-axis. Is there any motion in vertical direction? No motion along vertical direction. So particle is at rest in vertical direction. That means sigma Fi equal to 0. What are the forces acting along y-axis? Normal force and mg cos theta. So one force is normal along positive y-axis acting, summation is placed, and mg cos theta is acting downward direction. So I am keeping it as minus mg cos theta equal to 0. Now n equal to mg cos theta. N equal to mg. We got n equal to mg cos theta. Now we need to look for x component of forces. What are x component of forces here? Frictional force is acting along positive x-axis and mg sin theta is acting along negative x-axis. Is the body in motion or at rest? Still the body begins to slide. That means still is at rest. So we need to apply static friction condition here. It is at rest. That means summation of forces along x-axis also might be equal to 0 because still the body is at rest. Just ready to slide but not sliding. So still the body is in equilibrium. So sigma fx equal to 0. So what is sigma fx here? Summation of forces along x-axis. Along x component, positive x-axis, fs is there. Fs, summation means place. What is another x component of force? Minus mg sin theta equal to 0. So fs equal to minus mg sin theta. When it comes to right side, it will become plus mg sin theta. Okay, we know fs is nothing but mu s into n equal to mg sin theta. So mu s into n. What is n here? We got it as mg cos theta equal to mg sin theta. So here mg and mg get cancels. So mu s is equal to sin theta divided by cos theta. Okay, only cos theta term is there. When this cos theta comes to right side, it will go to denominator sin theta by cos theta. So final answer is mu s is equal to sin theta by cos theta is nothing but tan theta. He asked us to find out coefficient of, what is the coefficient of static friction? The coefficient of static friction equal to simply tan theta, that is mu s is equal to tan, what is theta? He mentioned it as 15 degrees. So mu s equal to tan 15 is the final answer. See here in this problem, what is, we need to find out what is the acceleration of the block and trolley system, and also what is the tension in the string. These two masses, 3 kg mass, 20 kg mass, are connected with same rope. So tension is same. We need to find out here what is the tension in the string, and also this 3 kg mass and 20 kg mass are connected together with the same rope. So acceleration of 3 kg equal to acceleration of 20 kg. So we need to find out that acceleration also. So before that, we need to draw free body diagram separately for 3 kg and 20 kg. So I am writing a free body diagram for 3 kg now. So what is the free body diagram for 3 kg? What are the forces acting on it? One is gravitational force acting straight downward, that is nothing but m into g, that m is nothing but 3 and g take it as 10, that equal to 30 newtons acting downwards. And what are the another force acting on it? Force exerted by this rope on the 3 kg, that is nothing but tension force, that is pointing upwards. Tension is pointing upwards. And identify the coordinates axis. This is plus y and this is minus y in this case. And this body is accelerating. When it is released, it is accelerating downwards. So acceleration is downwards. So here the body is not at rest, or body is not moving with uniform motion. It is accelerating. So we need to apply Newton's second law of motion condition. What is that condition? Sigma Fy equal to MAY. Okay. sigma Fi. What are the forces acting here? One is tension force is acting upwards and mg is acting downwards and acceleration is also downward accelerating. So summation of force is nothing but first force is T is acting upwards, so plus T. Summation is nothing but plus, and what is the another force acting? Mg. Mg equal to how much? 30 newtons. 30 newtons is acting downward direction. So I am writing minus 30 equal to m into Ay. M is nothing but mass of this small object is nothing but 3 kg and Ay is nothing but acceleration A, that is accelerating. Object is accelerating negative direction. So minus A. I am keeping minus K. That equal to T minus 30 equal to minus 3A. So T is equal to 30 minus 3A. Let this is equation number 1. This is equation number 1. And now draw free body diagram. Free body diagram. FBD means free body diagram for 20 kg object. So what are the forces acting on? For 20 kg. One is gravitational force acting straight down. Another one is nothing but normal force, upward normal force. One is gravitational force. Capital M into G. Capital M is how much? Mass is 20 into G is nothing but 10. That is 200 newtons is acting downwards. Now what is the force that is acting? Force exerted by surface on the object is nothing but normal force. Normal force. Okay. And what are the other force? Rope is attached to this 20 kg mass. So force exerted by rope on 20 kg is nothing but tension force acting along this direction. When this is moving like this, frictional force comes into picture. As the motion is like this, frictional force opposes the motion. So it points in negative direction or left side direction. Friction force. What type of friction is this? As the body 20 kg mass is sliding down, moving. So kinetic friction is acting here. Okay. So these are the 4 forces acting on 20 kg. One is downward gravitational force. Another one is upward normal force. And right side is tension force and left side is nothing but kinetic friction. Why kinetic friction? As the block is moving. And said that it is accelerating. Well, in which direction the 20 kg block is moving? It is moving towards right. So acceleration is pointing right side direction. Okay. Now we need to apply conditions. Here there is no motion along y-axis. The object is not moving in y direction. So sigma Fi equal to 0 here. So the object is in equilibrium along vertical direction. Sigma Fi equal to 0. That means summation of forces acting along y-axis. N plus of minus mg equal to 0. Here capital Mg is nothing but how much? Capital Mg equal to 20 newtons. N plus of minus 20 newtons equal to 0. So normal force equal to 20 newtons. We got normal force as 20 newtons. Now we need to apply x component. Apply Newton's law for x component. So what are the forces acting along x component? One is tension force is acting along positive x-axis and frictional force is acting along negative x-axis. So acceleration is there along x-axis. So summation of forces along x-axis equal to max because the body is accelerating along x-axis. There is no acceleration along y-axis, so sigma Fi equal to 0. But here acceleration is along x-axis, so sigma Fx equal to max. So what are the forces acting? Sum of forces is nothing but P plus minus Fk equal to m into a. So T minus Fk is nothing but mu k into n equal to, what is the mass here? Ma, capital Ma. What is the mass of this one? 20 kg. So 20 into A. 20 into A. So T minus mu k n. I am writing here T minus mu k n. N is how much? 200 newtons equal to MA. M is nothing but 20 A. From equation 1, this is equation 1, T is equal to 30 minus 3A. So we can replace T value. T is nothing but 30 minus 3A minus mu k into 200. What is mu k? 0.04 into 200 equal to 20 A. Okay, so 30 minus 3A minus 0.04 into 200. 200 into 4 is nothing but 800. 800. So 2 8 also. 2 digits right side. So 8 minus 8 equal to 20A. When you multiply 200 into 0.04, you will get answer as 8. So right now 30 minus 8 is nothing but 22 is equal to minus 3A will become plus 3A, that is 23A. So acceleration A equal to 22 by 23 meter per second square. You got answer for acceleration here. So now you need to find out tension. From equation 1, tension T is equal to 30 minus 3A. 30 minus 3A. So T is equal to 30 minus 3 into 22 by 23. So in this way you will get answer for tension as well. This is the answer for tension. Dear students, you need to keep on practicing these problems. You need to know the strategies for problem solving techniques. The strategies are, first you need to identify the number of forces acting on it and in which direction they are acting. And you need to draw a free body diagram and observe the proper angles in which the forces are acting on. And also you need to resolve the force into components and choose the coordinate axis. Then check whether the object is under equilibrium or in motion. Accordingly, you need to apply Newton's law of motion. If the object is under equilibrium, you need to apply Newton's first law of motion. If the object is under motion, you need to apply Newton's second law of motion. Okay, tomorrow we will discuss about banking angle. Right. And some students are asking to make videos on motion in a plane, that is 4th chapter. I will upload the videos of motion in place in some other time. Just focus on 5th chapter now. After completion of this 5th chapter, I will go on continue to teach 6th chapter. After 6th chapter, I will upload 4th chapter videos. Thank you.